Hi everyone. Just wanted to come live today. We're doing a little, I'm having a friend join me. Her name is Nadine Searle. She's from the Calmer Self. She's from across the pond in England, and we're going to be talking a little bit about Love Me. Just waiting for her to join. Oh, there she is. I'm going to bring her on. Should be coming in soon, I think. There you are.
Here I am.
Hi,
Here I am.
Nadine.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. It's midweek, easing through the week, slowly moving through the week with this Mercury retrograde that we're in and all the
Yes,
energies we're feeling. So,
yes,
um,
it's doing what it's doing, isn't it? And we just have
mhm,
to surrender to it, don't we? Give up to it.
we do. Yeah. So I'm so happy you're joining me and that you suggested we do this as you were reading through Love Me and
Yeah,
finding some parallels, I think, with your
that's
own
what it
life.
was. I was reading your beautiful book, and when I read, I like to take my time and I like to really take in what I'm reading and
Mhm.
digest it. And then what happens is I always get about 101 questions. And because I can ask you, the author, questions,
Mhm.
I thought, oh, I will. So we had a little chat, didn't we, and everything. And then we just thought, didn't we could share this chat, couldn't we? We
Mhm.
could share what we're talking about because I am so sure that what you're writing is going to help so many people.
Mhm.
People will see parallels, won't they? They will go, oh, that's me, like I've done. Oh, that's me. That's what it's like.
Yeah.
And really, I've seen it so far. I mean, I've
Mhm.
only read the first chapter because, as I say, I take my time. But I can see those parallels. I can see the comparisons, and it's making me think a little bit about what I've done in my past and why I'm where I am today. So I'm very grateful for that. And as I say, I'm sure anyone else reading it
Mhm.
will be exactly the same. Read it and go, oh, well, that's, little moments where you go, that's me. Or
Right.
is that me? Yeah.
That's
So,
so, it's so good because when I was going through the process, really writing poetry first, and then thought I need to put some insights around this to give it some context because that's how I
yeah.
was processing some pain I was dealing with at the time. And I knew I just had this little nudge inside to share it in the way that I did because I feel like even though my story is personal to me, we all go through this human experience and the cultural maze of life. And,
Yeah.
we can find parallels in that in our own story. So I'm so glad that that is what came up in you. And
That's what's happening
hey,
with me.
Angie.
Yeah. Oh, hello, hello. You can see when people join. This is lovely. Got to
Yeah.
say, this is like all new to me, isn't it? All this Instagram. So it's lovely to be chatting the way that we can. It's just amazing, isn't it? So
Yeah, it is
it's
good.
really, it
And
is
so good
lovely,
too
isn't it?
how you said, when you read a book, you don't know you questions come up and you don't always get to ask the author. So this
Well,
is
very
like such a
rarely.
perfect, opportunity. And I mean,
Yes.
it's good for both of us because we get to talk about the book and
Mm,
really that's what it's about. It's about connecting deeper with ourselves, remembering who we are, and
yeah.
that's why I shared the story. So I know you had said there was like one thing that stuck out immediately, so maybe you can share that.
Yes. Shall we start at the beginning? Yes. And I
Yeah,
would like to sort of echo what you've said. I'm getting a chance to ask questions, but this is a chance for other people to ask as well, isn't it? So opening that up. So you'll probably get bombarded with loads of questions now.
yeah.
But the first thing that I actually read that I thought, oh, that's powerful, what you said. By the way, I love the fact that it's interspersed with your poetry and the way that you've spaced it out. It really has impact. So it's not just reading a story. It's an easy read. Let's put it that way. Emotionally, maybe a bit tough,
Yeah.
but it's really pleasant to read, and the way that you put it is so
Oh,
good. And it is poetry as well as your story, isn't it? So, but the poetry is your story as well,
mhm.
isn't it? But the first bit that I really picked up on, and I'll quote you, I'm going to have to read this bit. Your life becomes your own when you stop abandoning yourself in order to meet other people's expectations for it. Now, that was the moment when I went, I've got to stop and read that again because
Mm,
it's a powerful statement, so true. And it's one of those that's when I started to question myself and go, do I do that? Have I done that? When did I do that? What's that all about? So those questions came up, and that's when I like to stop reading and really think.
Hmm.
And so it is, and I'm going to say it again, your life becomes your own when you stop abandoning yourself. That's the thing, isn't it? Forgetting about yourself in order to meet other people's expectations for it. And it is, yeah, that's what we all need to do,
Yeah.
isn't it? If
And
we haven't done it, we need to
yeah,
do it, don't we? Yeah.
I mean, and that's really where it began for me and where I reclaimed my power and understanding how I was showing up in life. And it's always a work in progress. There's always deeper learnings and deeper wisdoms, but it's really understanding at a point in my life where it was the end of a relationship. I really took that opportunity where I could easily blame the other person or,
Yeah.
just say, okay, become a victim of it. I thought I really want to get to why I'm showing up this way. I want to understand it because I identified it as a pattern and living to others' expectations. And so I took it back to my childhood. Um, and again, I think we all have these connections that we can make to why our life looks a certain way or why we're living a certain way to how we grew up. And it's not just in our family unit, but in our upbringing in school. And then that carry,
Yeah.
we for me personally, I learned how I was most accepted and loved. So I started to shape unconsciously or subconsciously shape how I was showing up to feel that
Yeah.
acceptance. And then you become somebody that's detached from who you really are. And I think that's a thing, a theme, a concept that a lot of people can draw parallels to, um, and maybe haven't really taken notice of. Like you said, it stopped you and made you think. And that's the thing.
Mm.
It's not to make ourselves feel like there's something wrong with us, but that
No,
to
no, not at
understand that
all.
we come in here with an agreement, a soul contract, and we come in here with knowing what the plan is, and we forget
Mm.
soon because we're then told who we are and we're showing up that way. We're told this is how I want to receive you. So then we start to shape and then shape ourselves and then move away from that original knowing. And then we get in the way of the journey that our soul was meant to take here. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what I've come to realize. So it's not about placing blame on anybody. We are all human and we all have these opportunities for lessons and things that help us grow. And even if it doesn't feel good, it's the wisdom that it holds. So
Yeah.
that's why, it was so important for me to write the book, but then share it too, to help the readers, whoever's reading it, to see that they can, move past these and don't have to carry whatever it is we've
Yeah.
experienced our entire life.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? Because the way that you've written that is you're
Mm-hmm.
giving someone permission to go, this is how you can make your life your own
Mm-hmm.
by doing this. And that's what I love about it, the way that you've worded that. Like you say, you're not blaming, you're not doing anything, but it does make you think. And it goes, well, this is how you can make your life your own by actually getting rid of the way that you have shaped yourself to fit in with other people's beliefs.
Right.
And you're so right, because it is, I don't know if it starts on day one. I don't know when it starts, but when
Mm-hmm.
we're young, like I say, we're born with what's going on, totally self-absorbed, totally into our own meaning, and we do what we
Mm-hmm.
want to do. And then very, very slowly but surely, I've got to say, it's sort of chipped away at, isn't it? For all
It
sorts
is.
of reasons. It's nobody's fault. It's not anything that's wrong. It's just what happens, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think I can look back to my childhood and think, and as we both have done quite a lot of our inner child work,
Mm-hmm.
and think that the influences were coming at me from everywhere. And we are, when we're young, we're like a sponge, aren't we? We take it all in.
Mm-hmm.
And we do want to make people happy, don't we? We want to. I'm a people pleaser. I turned into that very young.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that kind of, we take it all on. We go, this is how we're meant to be, by what
Right.
happens to us, by the reactions we get from our actions and what we do. And without realizing, we lose ourselves, don't we? So it's
Mm-hmm.
really, really valuable, isn't it? Like you've said, they're giving you permission to go, actually, hang on a minute, I want to take some time, whatever it means, everyone does it in a different way, to just tune in to what I want. Like you say, our soul, it's there. We've
Mm-hmm.
just got to listen again, haven't we? You know, and whether that be
Yes.
in meditation, whether that be in group work, however we do that, nature
Mm-hmm.
helps us, doesn't it? Connecting, getting back to that,
Exactly.
because we had it to start with, didn't we? You know,
We
that's what I
did.
always remember. Yeah, we had it,
And
and it's still there.
it is still there, and that's why it's good to take that time, like you said, with meditation or however we connect with our soul, whatever feels good for us, to come back
Mm,
to that and then remember. That's why it's called remembering. And
yeah,
because we knew at one time, but you, like you said, we have so many external influences that kind, without us even realizing, we take on those, the things that are said to us, you know, and they stick
mm,
with us. Like
mm,
everyone has a story that I talk to of like being in high school, or and I wanted to be an artist, or I wanted to be a
yeah,
writer. For me, I
yeah,
wanted to be a teacher, and I think you
yes.
had this a similar
Yes, we got that in common,
dream.
haven't
Yeah.
we? You know, it was, wasn't it? I mean, I used to, when I came home from school when I was very young, I had a blackboard. That shows my age. It's a blackboard.
Mm-hmm.
It was on an easel. I had all my dolls, my toys, and they were my pupils. And I was the teacher. Every day after school, that's what I did. I played teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be a teacher, like you say you did too. I think you said you wanted to be an author, didn't you?
I did. So
When
I
you were
wanted to do
very
that.
young.
I also wanted to be a published author, but I thought, like you, like I thought that was for somebody else. That was for other people and
Yes.
not for me, because
Yeah.
the messaging I was receiving from the influences around me. And so
Mm,
we start to take that on. It's so easy for us to take on those
yeah.
negative beliefs, and then that becomes the real in our mind. So that's another reason why I wanted to bring that up. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with us. And if it's in our
No.
heart in the first place, it's because it's something our soul desires. That's what I truly believe.
Yeah.
And so that's what this is about, is coming back to what it is our soul desires for us, because the soul knows the journey. We
Mm.
sometimes, we get it, not sometimes, a lot of the time, get in the way. So it's interesting too, like, so I, at one point I did want to be a teacher. I did want to publish a book too, like, but there were all these things that I thought, well, society said, you know, being in business was more successful and more lucrative or whatever, but not really think, you know, taking, I talk about that too in the book, taking on society's definition for success. And it isn't, we all have our own definition, and we, you know, we're never
Yeah.
really told that you can define that for yourself. There's so many things about our upbringing, and it's not about our parents or anyone specific. It's about society in general. What I call,
Yeah.
like, the cultural maze is something that I've heard recently, and I'm like, it really is a maze, because we go
Yeah.
this way, and then, oh, we're not supposed to go that way. No, we go this way, and then we, you know,
Mm.
kind of weave our way through, and then we find ourselves so detached. And so it really is about listening to those inner nudges for
Yes.
ourselves,
I
right?
think that's the key, isn't it? Because we can be distracted, we can be led
Mm-hmm.
by all sorts of influences. And I love that idea of a maze. And it's important and it's valuable to move forward, isn't it? Whatever
Yeah.
way we're going, because we can always correct ourselves, can't we? That's
Mm-hmm.
the thing, isn't it? And I find personally now, especially, the easiest way to correct myself is to listen to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Some people call it intuition, don't they? But it's tuning in,
It is.
because we do know, don't we, when we're going, oh, I don't know which path to take, I don't know which way to go, then actually it's quite simple, isn't it? Once we learn, once we trust, to actually go, actually, I'm just going to stop and take a moment and listen to
Mm-hmm.
myself, and then you know. And it's something, I don't know about you, Trish, but it's something that you just get better at, don't you? Once you do
Yep.
it, you do,
It's
it's like a practice, isn't it? The more
it
you
is
do
a
it, the more you
practice.
trust. Yeah,
It's a
it's just,
practice. And you know what's so interesting is the very words that are coming out of your mouth are exactly what we've been talking about, the energy of this week, of taking that time to tune in, to really
yeah,
listen what's
yeah,
going on, to stop. With the Mercury retrograde, you know, we can easily react to what's going on, but we have the, you know, inner strength with that practice, like you said, when it becomes a practice, to then make the choice to slow down, to take a pause, then choose how we're going to respond or
yeah,
engage or whatever the
mm,
situation is about. But it's
yeah,
so interesting. That's why, you know, this journey, you know, why I wanted to go back and explore it, because I was realizing I was so concerned about the external noise and the voices from the external, when, and then that was clouding what was coming from internal.
yeah,
And I think that's
yeah.
so important to point out and to
Mm.
emphasize.
I think it is, isn't it? Because that is exactly what most people are
Hmm.
going through, aren't they? They're just
Yeah.
going, oh, but this is so and so's saying this, so and so's doing that. And there's so many things that lead us, and we forget. We lose ourselves in it, don't we? We lose ourselves in
Hmm.
that. And I think going back to what you said earlier about, as a young child, you wanted to be a teacher, you wanted to be an author,
Hmm.
and somebody or something got in the way.
Yeah.
Maybe, I mean, I know with me with a teacher, I didn't think I was clever enough to be a teacher. I thought I can't be a teacher. You got to be really clever, you got to be there. I put all these standards there that I really don't know where they came from, but they came from somewhere. They didn't come from my heart, because in my heart as a child I was a teacher. I was
Hmm.
doing it, as it happens, like you have now become a published author.
Hmm.
Brilliant. I was a nursery school teacher for 13 years, so I did do it.
Yeah.
But I went, like you say, I went on other paths to get there, but I came
Hmm.
back in the end. But it
Yeah.
is really interesting, isn't it? Just to go, God, if we just stop, and I think that's another thing, isn't it? Giving yourself that little bit of time, doesn't have to take long, but that little bit of space, and like you were saying, that permission to just actually take a
Hmm.
moment and listen to yourself, your intuition, whatever you want to do, and then you just
Right.
know. And it is like you say, when you're young, you've got this little nagging, I want to be, I want to be. Where does that come from? It comes from us inside, doesn't it? This is what we're
Right.
here for.
Yeah.
Whatever
And
we want to be is our mission, isn't it?
it is. And we think it has to look a certain way. I think that's where the negative thoughts
Mm,
come in, because we take one thing that was told to us by a teacher or something,
yes, yeah,
and then that,
yeah.
like I said, that becomes the real in our mind, and then we take that and think it has to look a certain way in order for us to do that. Look at you. You wanted to be a teacher, and
Yeah.
then you became a nursery school teacher, but you're also teaching now with the way that you work with people,
This,
coaching
yeah.
people, helping them with your calmer self method, all of the work that you do around helping people achieve
Mm.
calm, that is teaching too. And
Yeah,
it,
I really feel it took me a little while to realize that, and I really appreciate you saying that.
mm,
But you're the same. You are. You're sharing, you're helping, you're teaching, you're educating, you're
mm-hmm,
empowering. With all that you do, it's not just the book; it's all of your work as well, your healing work that you do. And we are in that position now. Like you say, didn't look like what we thought it was going to look like. I don't
right.
stand in front of a blackboard and talk to my dolls. I do it in a different way. Probably a good job I don't. But we do it in a different way. It's not
Yeah,
actually how we thought it was going to be, but we
yeah,
are doing it. That's the joy,
exactly.
isn't it? We're doing it.
Yeah.
It's
And that's
really,
the
really
lesson
lovely.
there. It's like letting go of the attachment to the outcome, because we think it has to look a certain way. And when like the magic is right there in front of us and we can't see it
Mm,
because we're looking over there for what we think it looks like. So that is
yeah,
another lesson of, through this
yeah.
journey. And I think, I don't know, you can probably relate to that. So
That
it's
also,
just
I'm gonna ask you just to say that little phrase again. Was it letting go of, what was it? The attachment.
letting go of attachment to the outcome. So, because I think
Another
we have
statement.
control over it, and we do have, our soul has those desires that it's speaking for us, and we take the action that is aligned with that if we want to get there. But it doesn't always look, just like we said, it doesn't always look how we thought it would, and it doesn't
Yeah.
always unfold the way we think it's going to unfold. And that's the beauty of it, because a lot of times we're thinking too small. We're engineering smallness, as Brene Brown says. So, and
Yeah.
that's another part of our cultural conditioning or socialization, is to not think big enough, to think that that's only for some people.
Mm,
And look at how many people are writing books and, getting out with putting themselves out there with their art, sharing their gifts in so many ways, like you are with your calmer self, and all of this. Like, this is why, because we know that we're not meant to just stay inside a box. At least that's why I took the journey I've taken, why I'm continuing to be on this journey, and to have the courage to just explore the unknown, even if it
mm.
doesn't feel good sometimes.
Well, I think that's what it is. It takes a lot of courage, doesn't it, to
Mhm.
actually go, no, I am going to do it, even though, like we said earlier, maybe some people have said things that have stayed in our heads, in our
Yeah.
hearts. It can come from anywhere, can't it? And it is, I know, and we have talked about this, haven't we, that, and again, not putting the blame on, but a lot of what was said to us was in our education.
Hmm.
Maybe teachers putting us on a different path and saying, get this education, this is a good path for you, this isn't good for you. So we're led by that, aren't we? And conforming, if you like. But again, it's something I know you're very passionate about, and I am too, is about actually educating young people, young women, maybe young people, to actually go, we can do what we want. Because we were there, weren't we, as young girls, being influenced, taking it all in and actually following the path that was given to us. We found our way, and that's okay, but we can help other people, can't we? And we are doing that now, to actually say to people, maybe in schools and talking and giving inspiration and sharing our story a bit more, to actually say, here you are, this is me, this is where I went, meandering along, got here, and this is what you can do. And that is inspiration, isn't it, for people that I know we both want to share, don't we? So it
is, yeah. And I think I would love to have that conversation with the younger generation. I mean, I think we've witnessed the generation, my kids' generation, like they're going after, they're not following necessarily that same path. They're open to that. So I think it's important to keep delivering that message and communicating that message that, you know, it doesn't have to look the same for everybody. And it's about following your own inner desires, your own soul's journey, and not falling into the pattern of pleasing others. That's where I, you know, when I realized I had, you know, become a well-groomed people pleaser through that experience. So like you said earlier, so so it's so I really love that you've brought this this point up, this in bringing attention to it, and I would love to continue to have these conversations as you work your way through the book.
I would love to. Yeah, I just I've got so many questions, and I think it's really it's just lovely to be able to talk to you about it and share, because I know people, it will lead on to more questions, and people will think a bit more. But just to actually get that chance, like say, to connect with you in this way and go, well, you wrote it. This is what I think. This is what it's done to me. You know, and everyone else probably feels the same. So I would encourage everyone to reach out, comment, you know, put some feedback for us and ask your questions, because I'm sure people have got them, about if they've read the book, if they haven't read the book, or they've just read a little bit like me, or just from our conversation. We want to hear what you've got to say. We definitely want to hear.
Yeah, I would love to hear that too. And you know, the journey goes on, it keeps evolving, and it's what's interesting in the book is, as you said, like there's emotion there and it draws out emotion. There's parts that are written from an unhealed lens, or through an unhealed lens, and a more healed lens, and you'll see that, and just really touching on some things that might, you know, what is the word, just touch people in a way they weren't expecting. So I think that's to you know, hearing your questions and comments and feedback, and I thank you so much, Nadine.
I thank you, and you're absolutely right. It's touched on emotions for me, and I can't say I wasn't expecting that, but some people might be. So again, it's nice to know that they can reach out to you if something's come up a little bit, because I think I said to you, didn't I? You know, it brought out some raw emotions in me, and I was grateful of that, because I know what to do about that. But some people might not. So again, you know, don't sit there and like go, oh, no, this is what I'm feeling, because it will bring out emotions, because you've been very, very honest with what you've said. And like you say, coming from a healed place and a not so healed. So we are going to relate. We're going to feel those emotions with you. So I'm very grateful for that. And I'm sure everyone else will be too. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. And yeah, I'm always here for support. So thanks so much, Nadine. Let's do this again when you have more questions. And I'm so excited. And just, where can people find you and work with you? Let's talk about that real quick.
Yes, well, the best place and the easiest place is to go, because we're both in there and lots of other people are too, the KS Media Group app. You can download that and you can create a free account, and you can access everything that I offer, everything that Trish offers, and there's so much, isn't there? And there's lots of other people in there. There's lots of support too. So that is a great place for people to go to, isn't it? To find us both and so much more.
Yeah, you have some beautiful meditations in there. Your podcast is in there. My podcast is in there, The Shift and the Calmer Self podcast. So thank you so much, and we'll definitely do this again.
Yes, let's do it again. Yay.
Okay, thanks, Nadine.
Thank you so much. It's been lovely chatting to you. Thank you.
You too.